What's going on, brothers? What's going on, sisters? And I want everybody to feel blessed and inspired. And each day is a different day. Each day is a better day. The mind creates. God created life. He created us in His image. So therefore, we have the power also to create life. So whatever you dream, whatever you see, whatever you want, you create. The mind create. So whatever you say you want, that's what you want out of life. You are your own creator. You are a God, and you are a goddess. So let me talk real bit. I want to talk a little bit. I want to talk about space, because I feel like a lot of people that look like me, I feel like a lot of people don't look like me. I see a lot of people in my community. They talk about what's going on out there in the streets, what's going out there in the hip hop, what's going out there with the shoes, what's going out there with the clothing, what's going out there with the stuff that don't have no value. Then you got people that talk about business. You got people that talk about entrepreneurship. You got people that talk about traveling, that's doing good, that's making a lot of income, that can do these things, seeking the world. But I rarely hear anybody talk about space. Space, and the power of space, and the knowledge of the universe. I really hear anybody talk about that. You gotta think about it. I'm gonna think out the box. Great minds think out the box. You can be a follower, and you can follow to the point where you're seeing things and you're like, okay, do I have to continue to follow, or I'm gonna step to the side and say I'm gonna do things differently and think a different way? Instead of falling in line, you can be thinking out the box. That's called being a leader. It's called you seeing things differently, where everybody else see things the same because that's how they was taught. But the true, I feel like evolution of life is for a person to see life and say, okay, I want to do things different. We've been doing it this way for so long. Now it's time for us to think out the box and do things different. And this message right now, I'm going to think out the box a little bit. I want to talk about human beings and life itself on planet Earth, from every living organism, from every living soul that lives on this earth, even nature itself. We all have a thing in common. And that common thing that we have is going to be with us until eternity. And it's never going to fade away. And that common thing we have has been with us since the day we came, I believe, on earth. And that common thing is called migration. And throughout history and throughout life, man in life, from every organism, been known for migrating, going from one place to another for the betterment of life and for resources and for life to expand. So what we do, we migrate. When nature feel like it don't go according to the way of how we want to live, and if our environment is so destructive and to the point where we can't survive as human beings and as life, we migrate. When it get cold outside, the ducks and the birds, they migrate to the hottest climate, because that's our nature. We look for better ways to survive, and we look for better ways to live. So we migrate. I believe we have advanced ancestors that's out there in our Milky Way. Out there in our Milky Way with advanced technology, so advanced that we getting there, but we ain't there yet. We so far away from it, but we getting close to advancing our technology due to our DNA that was produced from our ancestors with these great technologies. I believe our ancestors, somewhere in the Milky Way on a beautiful planet with life and technology and towers and everything is so advanced, I believe the government of this planet and ancestors and power of this planet seen the earth and seen planets and one of the ways to span life. So they seek the universe, they seen places in space to expand life. And they found planets like Earth and other planets. But we know our Earth as Earth, and they found Earth. So they expand life by sending life to Earth, create life to Earth, creatures to Earth from life, and everything that was the life from the planet in which our ancestors live is now on Earth. The DNA that is carried is now on Earth. The attributes that's carried is now on Earth. I believe our ancestors seen the Earth, and they expanded life in ways to the point where, just like everything in life, gotta have a starting point. They seen the Earth was nothing there, it was beautiful, it was empty. So the first thing they had to do was test it, see if it's livable, see if it was good enough for our life and for us to evolve. They test the Earth and seen like Earth was good. Then the next step was to plant Earth with seeds, plant Earth with life and sex, to travel, migrate around the Earth and spread certain DNAs that the planet need. Then from there, the technology we brought to Earth from whatever our ancestors is from, they brought to Earth and started making water, making different livable planets, different livable trees, start planting life, start bringing life. But they had I believe every planet have what you call the Garden of Eden, Area 51, the starting point where the advanced technology, where our ancestors started from. That's where the advances technology is at, the starting point. And everything away from that is more like the test, more like the testing ground. More like it's more like everything that's planted outside of the Garden of Eden. The Garden of Eden is where all the true technology, true life, and everything that's way more advanced, where our ancestors had came, is at this Garden of Eden. And everything else outside is more like the test, like an Adam and Eve. I believe Earth was like that. Earth was like to a point where we got advanced technology that set up, had the Garden of Eden that was more advanced. Adam and Eve was more like the people like the Amazonians. You see the people like Amazonians that can survive in any climate. They can live in woods, live in trees, live and make mud out of houses, live in caves and stuff like that, cavemans and stuff like that. They really don't have no knowledge of technology, no knowledge of nothing. All they have knowledge of is nature and no knowledge of is survival. So they was the first test. They was the first people like that. It was the first people that came to the survival folks. We put those on Earth first, and then once they survived and migrated to Earth became to a point where it's livable. Then we got the more knowledgeable people coming to expand the Earth. Levels. That's how I believe Earth was created, through migration. You know what I'm saying? Through migration. And I believe the same way we do on Mars, through migration, expanding life and creation. That's how life was from the beginning. We came from a place somewhere in the Milky Way, our ancestors, somewhere in the Milky Way, where they wanted to expand and migrate. You feel me? Using their technology to find this Earth, to bring life to this Earth, to migrate. Everything started with nothing. Now look where we at. We got cars, house, flying this, flying cars. We got houses with swimming pool. But in the beginning, it was just caves. It was mud. It's clay. We was figuring out how to live in mud, so we was making houses out of mud, using our DNA knowledge and our attributes that our ancestors gave us. We was finding ways to build out of mud, finding ways to build out of caves, and finding ways to build out of with the things we have. And these levels came our ancestors, which is I feel is UFOs that watch over us, that provide us with the things we need to even evolve in life and seek and get more and want to expand our minds to even want to fly and be faster like them. They give us the things that we need to expand and do greater things, not only on Earth, but one day in space. You know, so that's I believe when people talk about God, I believe you gotta also talk about science. You can't talk about religion and not talk about the gravitation of the sun, orbiting of planets going around the sun, the mathematics, the distance. You can't talk about life without not talking about science. Science is part of life. The creation of life is because of science. So when you talk about God, you got to talk about science. So science is the reason why we here. Science is the reason why we expanding and doing greater things and evolving. And not only are we doing greater things, we also using the DNA that our ancestors gave to us to create machines and create things that can help us build and make life better for us and expand and go to build rockets to go to space and do greater things and beyond. But it all started with a starting point. The starting point is finding land that is empty, and from there we can build. We just gotta go migrate. It's called the Great Migration.